Well, you guys, this is really cool for me. I think most of you know because I talk about it regularly. I am a graduate of the Perry Hall High School, class of 2001, and I'm gonna start to argue that maybe this man might be a slightly more accomplished graduate of the Perry Hall High School. Actually, he didn't finish at Perry Hall, but boy, did he do a lot of big things when he was at Perry Hall. He is now getting ready for the Sweet 16 and a date with Houston. He is a key reserve for Miami. He is Anthony Walker, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Anthony, it's
Yes, sir.
Glenn. It's so good to catch up, man. Chomp, chomp. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's going to be a great time.
Hey, man, I'm so happy for you, dude. Can you take me back? Like, I just when you knew, like growing up, hey, man, I'm a little bit better at this than some of these guys around here. I might be able to do this at a higher level.
Yeah. So I started Perry Hall during my 10th grade year of high school, and actually I played JV during the time. So by the end of that season, and when the varsity coach asked me to just pull me up to varsity just to experience the state run, I knew I had something going on. I
No
knew if I
doubt.
just keep working, I could accomplish something.
And of course, those for people that don't know, those are really good teams, right? LaQuill Hardnett
Yeah.
and Anthony Higgs were there.
Yes, sir.
What did it mean to you? Did you have any idea of how significant it was for Perry Hall to win a state title? Like before you got there, did you know how big of a deal it was for the school to be able to accomplish that?
I actually didn't because I didn't really know much about the school until it was the school in my area and the school I had to go to. So, but when I got pulled up and when we started getting closer and closer to the state championship games, and I started to realize the history of the school
Yeah.
and how it's never happened before, and the energy started to rise, I just started to understand like, okay, we're doing something special here.
Dude, I mean, like, really, I'm talking like people that hadn't been around in decades were like, we were texting each
Yeah.
other, like, are you guys paying attention to what's going on? It was a really, bro, when I was at Perry Hall, basketball barely existed, man. Like, it was not on the map at all. It was an incredible thing. How much pride
Yeah.
do you have? You know, 'cause this is what jumps out at me, dude. It's really cool for me to watch you because you were a Gator. But one of the things that's really remarkable for me to see is just someone who came from the public school path. And I'm
Right.
not trying to portray like Perry Hall as being, you know, a dirty place or something like that, but it ain't glamorous, obviously.
Of
Like
course.
it is not the prep school that other places, even where you ended up at Brewster, like it's not that. How much more do you
Right.
think you were prepared for how difficult it is trying to grind just to get on the floor playing at this level based on being somewhere where not everything was given to you?
Right. That's a great question because Perry Hall. I mean, Perry Hall is home in a way because I went to school there, but it, like you said, it is not glamorous. And at the
Mm-hmm.
time, we was going through significant issues with the school and violence and stuff like that. But it's just understanding that you have to do whatever you have to do to put the work in to be where you want to be. So, and of course, the winning and the state championship helped put the school on the map
Yep.
to bring more eyes to the school with LaQuill. Great things in college right now. He's having a significant year. Anthony Higgs during the time was a great, great, big asset to the team. So just bringing eyes to the team, all of us working hard, staying undistracted, and just focusing on what was important then just helped us all.
That's awesome, man. I'm so happy for you. Anthony Walker is with us here on GCR from Perry Hall to now back in the Sweet 16 this year with Miami. Anthony, when
Yes,
you
sir.
when you arrived at Miami, it wasn't easy obviously it wasn't easy for anybody in the world for a little while there, but you guys went
Right.
through some tough times. What clicked over the last couple of years that you now are back in the Sweet 16 again? You were ACC regular season champions this year. What changed over the course of the last couple of seasons?
It's crazy because the only thing that really changed dramatically was the roster, and I'm not saying the players that I played with weren't great players because they were, but it was just like the coaches made a change in the roster, a little bit of change in the game plan, and brought in the right pieces, and we just started to make a change. Coach L is extremely big on routine, so he's been doing the same thing since I've gotten here. Same routine, same timing, same schedule. So not really much has changed. It's just the mindset of certain people have changed, and we just decided to put our heads down and started winning because winning is fun, and that's
Yeah.
what we try to cheer.
Yeah, it's paying
That's what
off,
we try to.
man. Big time.
Yeah.
Anthony, your path is really interesting to me because we're in an era of college basketball with transfer portal where if you're somewhere and we know what kind of athlete you are, we know what kind of player you are, it might be easy for some people to say, Anthony, why don't you just go somewhere else? Will you be playing, 34 minutes a game, something like that?
Right.
Why did you decide that you wanted to stick it out at Miami and see this thing through, even though you've got to fight for minutes, you've got to work your way off the bench, and you got to scrap to make sure you're getting your chances?
Right, and this is all tips off my head to going to Brewster and for Brewster for preparing me for this, because you just got to realize that some things are just bigger than yourself. The sum is bigger than the parts. So what we're trying to accomplish here is more important than my playing time.
Wow.
It's more important than my points per game. It's more important than, my stats. So we're trying to do something that's never been done here before. Last year we made a historic run. For the first time we went the furthest that we've ever went in school history. This time we're trying to do it again, but even bigger. So just trying to understand that things are bigger than yourself.
That's a really how important is it? You mentioned Coach L a minute ago, and I think he's always been a fascinating character for me, going back to his time at George Mason. How much do you have to have trust in him, in those relationships, that you're willing to buy in and say, okay, I know I'm here because we have a legitimate chance to win a championship?
Yeah, the trust factor has to be there 100%. You cannot doubt. He's here to do a job. He's hired people around him to do the job to help us succeed, and we got to come and do our part. We got to come and give them 100% effort every day. Make sure that we're 100% committed. So just hoping and trusting that they play their part, they do their jobs, and of course, Coach L's numbers speak for itself. He's been doing it for a long time.
No doubt.
He's been to the tournament. He's won. So just to trust in somebody who has the credentials and the numbers to show is very easy.
Anthony, the way you're talking about it, I know a lot of people were surprised that you went and beat Indiana, but I'm guessing you guys weren't at all. Like, you guys knew the entire time, and I'm going to guess that you guys are not in fear whatsoever in going up against a team that a lot of people think is the favorite to win the title in Houston on Friday night.
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Coach L is big on representing our league. The critics don't really represent our league as well. They think other leagues are maybe more competitive, more physical than our league. And we take that to the chin. We wear that like a chip on our shoulder, like a plot of armor. We're from the ACC. We think we're from the best team. The best conference in the world. So we're trying to go out there and prove it, and Houston is just in our way right now.
It's funny you bring up the chip on the shoulder, because I talked to, I had Ace Baldwin on last week, right, as VCU had just won the A-10, and he fits like what so many people have as their picture of like a Baltimore basketball player, right, undersized, that type of toughness anyway. You clearly are not undersized, right? Like, that's not part of your story. But do you carry that mentality with you the same way of, you come from a place where people are regularly overlooked. And we talk about it so many times with Baltimore players. We're like, D.C. guys, Philly guys, New York guys get all the attention. Do you carry a little bit of that with you, despite the fact that you are clearly, size is not the reason why people are overlooking you, but do you still carry that kind of toughness, that chip on your shoulder mentality?
Of course, that's just how we're raised.
Yeah.
That's how we're raised. We always feel like our back against the walls, and no one ever pay attention to our city because of the things that go on in our city. So that's just something we wear with pride. Like, we're Baltimore basketball players playing at the highest level of the game, achieving the highest of achievements, and that's something that we're all striving to be. We're all striving to do, and I tip my hat off to Ace, because Ace had an incredible year. I was paying attention.
Dude.
He played extremely well. So tip my hats off to Ace. Ace is a great player. I played AAU ball with him too. So
that's cool, man. Wait, were you? Were you Team Sizzle? Was that where you were?
No, I played for Baltimore basketball club.
Okay, all right.
He played with us.
All right,
yeah.
All right. I mean, because I remember him playing with Noah Locke on Team Sizzle. Like, yo, what about that?
Yeah, he did.
That backcourt is nuts, man. Like, that is crazy. What would it mean? Anthony Walker with us here in GCR, Miami getting ready to play Houston. What would it mean to you for this to go one step further? And, like, obviously the goal is the championship, but for this weekend, you guys to cut down some nets and go to the Final Four. Can you possibly describe, as someone who grew up watching this game, what that feeling would mean to you, Anthony?
It would mean the world. Just making it to the Elite Eight last year just meant the world. So I can only imagine taking that one step further and being one of only 4 teams left in college basketball playing. It's something everyone dreams of doing. It's an atmosphere everyone dreams of being in. We see it as a team, and I just can't wait to turn that into fruition. So it would mean absolutely everything to me. It'd be a dream come true.
Can I assume, based on, again, that mentality coming up from Baltimore, that you kind of love the idea of being the underdogs? Like, everybody's looking past you. Everybody's talking about Houston as a title. Like, do you kind of relish and love the fact that that's the way that it's working and you have a chance to prove everybody wrong?
Of course, of course, of course. It gives me the idea that we have everything to gain and nothing to lose. So let's just go out there and play as hard as we can. And no matter the outcome, at least we can say we play as hard as we can. And if you look over us, you're gonna be real surprised on the ending.
Man, dude, I'm so excited for you. Okay, so I have to ask before I let you go. When I was in school, the big joke to play on everybody at Perry Hall was to tell a freshman to try to go up to the 5th floor because that's where the pool was. Like, go all the way to the. It's up there. Like, go all the way up. It's on the 5th floor, and see if they attempted to do it. Did you guys still play that joke all these years later?
I've never been to the 5th floor.
There is no. That's
crazy.
the joke, right? There is no 5th floor. Like,
there is no 5th floor, but there's like elevators and stuff in the school. It's a lot of floors in that school, but I don't think there is a 5th floor.
There is 4 floors. Or, I mean, by the way, again, I say that I haven't even been back in almost a decade at this point.
Right.
There were 4 floors, and so we would always say, like, no, go to the 5th. You have to get off the elevator. You have to go find the stairs up to the 5th floor and see who we could get to actually buy into it. Like, that was always the attempt that we made to try to mess with kids when we were at Perry Hall. I don't know. I probably had to die at some point.
I think that died by the time I got there.
Anthony Walker, we're so happy for you, man. Where can people be giving you a follow, social media-wise, Twitter, Instagram, NIL stuff, anything like that?
Yeah, my Instagram is just the Anthony Walker, TheAnthonyWalker, WALKER.
Okay.
And I just be on there a lot, so the best place to reach me is there.
Anthony, congratulations, brother. You're making everybody in Perry Hall so proud. It would mean the world to see you cut down. You have no clue, dude. The goosebumps it would give me to see you guys cut down the nets in Houston in a couple weeks. There would be no words to describe that, man. Congratulations on everything.
That means a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you for doing this with us this morning, bro. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, bro. This was a great conversation.